Hello guys, welcome back to another video. So we are back with another coffee break, and as you can see I'm still in my room. I think I'm going to make this a recurring thing. I much prefer filming in my room, it's a lot more cozy than being outside, and it also means that I'm flexible to film whenever, whereas the issue I had before and reasons why some of the videos went up late, like days late, is because I had to have daylight and I had to go to a coffee shop to get coffee, which I can't do in the evening when they're closed. So yeah, it's just a lot easier to do it here. But onto the video. Today's video we are doing, I've got some questions and I've also got a couple of dilemmas. So some of them were in YouTube comments, some of them were on Instagram, but I was having a really nice chat with someone and they said feel free to use these dilemmas. So I'm just going to be giving you my kind of opinion on what happened and what I would do. Obviously I can only speak for myself and what I would do in that situation, but it might be helpful considering the situation that we're currently in. So yeah, there's quite a few questions relating to like business, like how to get more business, so I'll go into that a lot more, especially with another lockdown, because we have literally, I'm filming this on the 1st of November, and on the 4th of November the UK goes into another lockdown, so that will be interesting. But I think that cakes will be fine, because obviously people want to celebrate even if they're stuck at home. They still want, you know, to have nice birthdays, they want to have even just sweet treats. So I think for all of you that are worrying, just try and think positive, because yeah, I think it's going to be fine, especially with Christmas coming up. Everyone wants stuff for Christmas. I've seen loads of people putting out their Christmas menus already. I will be putting out mine, I think tomorrow, and then I'm gonna do all my demos this week of like what the stuff's going to look like. So all my photos I'll be doing this week, but the actual menu is going to go out tomorrow so people can kind of see what's going to be on it. But yeah, so I'm super excited and just trying to be positive about it. I'm not too worried, if I'm honest. I don't, like, it sounds really bad, but I don't mind lockdown. For me personally, you know, I'm just focusing on my business. It gives me a chance to save because I can't go out and spend money. And yeah, I just think it's easier to just do it. And it's a month, so, you know, just try and think positive. It's going to be over, fingers crossed, in December, and then we'll be able to start our Christmas celebrations. So yeah, I'm gonna get right into it. We've got a bunch of stuff. I've got it all on my phone, so I'll be looking down at that. Grab a coffee. I've got an iced coffee which I've literally been brewing for the past few hours. I've literally just been at work, so I left this in the fridge to brew, just like black coffee, and then yeah, it tastes so good. So yeah, grab a drink and then we'll get into the questions. So I think I'm gonna start with the questions because they're nice and short, or they probably won't be because I'll ramble for ages, but they're going to be shorter than me reading out the dilemmas. So the first two are very similar. So someone says, my favourite / most effective way of advertising. I personally think there's two ways, which are the only two that I do, and I sort of haven't had any issues. The first one is word of mouth. I think it's so important. You need to make sure that your customers are happy, the ones that have previously bought from you, because they're going to be the people that tell others. So I've had quite a few where they come back for more. I get ones where they message me and they say, oh, my cousin so-and-so, they had a cake from you and they absolutely loved it. Can I place an order? So I get a lot of like relatives of people and like friends of people ordering again, so that's really nice. But yeah, I think word of mouth is the best one, and making sure you get reviews. I think reviews speak quite well, because whenever I look at anything I always look at the reviews first before I buy stuff, whether it's like on Etsy or whether it's like even eBay and Amazon and like clothing, you always look at the reviews. So I think it's important to do like follow-ups. So if someone orders a cake, for instance, you want to be messaging them. Maybe I usually give it a couple of weeks, so maybe like 2 to 3, but then to a point where it's still fresh in their mind. So yeah, usually about 2 weeks, and I'll message them and I'll just say, I hope you love the cake, if I haven't heard from them already. Obviously if I have, then I word it slightly differently. But I say, hope you love the cake. I just wanted to ask whether you'd be happy to write a review. It can be as long as short as you would like, and here's the link, and then I give them the link to my Facebook. And then if they want to write one on Instagram, they can, like on a story, and then I can screenshot it and post it. Either is fine. I have quite a lot on my Instagram, and I have a lot of stories where people have posted like unboxings, like video unboxings. So I try to get more on Facebook because I have more on Instagram already. So word of mouth and reviews, and then also actually posting. I think it's so important to be posting. When I first started, I was doing so many like practice runs of everything, because I wanted to make sure that even when I didn't have orders, I was posting all the time. And I mean, even now, like, I don't do it very much. Pretty much all of my posts are orders. I think the only things that aren't orders are like promos. So like for Christmas, I'm going to be doing some brownies, cake pops, cupcakes, and a dummy cake. So I bought these dummy cakes, which are polystyrene, which I would definitely recommend. They're like a couple of pounds, and you just wrap them in cling film, and then you can cover them in icing. So you have to use actual icing, so obviously you have to like bump the cost of that, but you don't have to actually make the cake, so it saves you that kind of money and time. And you just decorate it the same you would a normal cake. So yeah, I'm doing that for Christmas, just because I want to get my promos out in November, so I can't obviously wait until I do a Christmas cake, because that will be in like almost a month and a half. So yeah, I think the dummy cakes are really good, and just making sure that you're doing plenty of posts. And if you don't have the content to do posts, then make some stuff, make some cakes, make some cupcakes, practice some new designs to sort of entice people in. You also want to be doing like a bit of hashtag research. I check what hashtags are sort of relevant. At the time, you get some that are bigger in terms of like how many posts they have, and then you want some that are smaller but maybe more relevant. So I always do my area, so like Buckinghamshire, so that you have the ones that are like cakes, strip cakes, that kind of thing, that are relevant, but that can be quite broad. Like someone, you know, halfway across the world could find that, and you don't want that because they're not local. So I always do a few like local ones and like Bucks businesses, stuff like that, and then that will entice people that are local. So yeah, I think you want to do some research on what you should be posting, like what gets engagement, all of that kind of stuff. So if you're not sort of very into Instagram and like social media, then maybe do a bit of research on that and try and get better at your like posting and your hashtags. And it's more about sort of shares and shares and saves now. So because sometimes the algorithm can be a bit funny, I always post on my stories so that people see the post, because sometimes if it's on just your feed, people don't see it. So yeah, I think word of mouth and just posting a lot and having a lot of content, a lot of ideas, it's just good to see, because when people are looking for your profile, they want to see, you know, loads of different options, and then they can think, wow, look at all these different designs she's done. So yeah, I just like to have lots of options for people to choose from. So the next one is kind of similar. Any tips to gain customers as a brand new business? Like I said, when I started, I was doing loads of mock-ups. Mine were all for family, but it's kind of a great way to test your recipes. So I got, sorry, Cleo wants to come up. I got all my recipes sort of tried and tested by them before I actually like started selling. And then when they said, oh, I love this one, I love that one, I was like, okay, these are good ones. And also, what was it? They said that they were opening this weekend. Obviously with lockdown and everything, you might want to do like an opening offer. I think when we came, it was when they brought in like the rule of 6, I did like a 10% off, just because I wanted to see what it would be like the engagement on it, and it actually went quite well. I got quite a few orders from that, quite a few like cakes and stuff, and 10% isn't too much that you're not going to earn any profit, but it's enough for people to think that that's a good discount, which it is. Like if someone gets say from me they get a £60 cake, they're saving £6, which is quite a lot. So yeah, I would definitely recommend like offers. I think giveaways can be risky. I think I might actually do one, but that's because I have followers already. But I think when you're first starting, and say you have 100 followers, a lot of those followers from the giveaway are just going to be for the giveaway, whereas like I've almost got 1,000 now, and I like to think that a lot of them are kind of genuine. A lot of them are people that watch my YouTube and they say how helpful these videos are, and they obviously want to follow my like baking journey, and then others of them are customers, so I kind of know that a lot of them are genuine and they're not just there for, you know, free stuff. So I feel like if I did a giveaway at 1,000, which I'm not saying is definitely happening, but I'm thinking about it, then it wouldn't be, you know, I would gain followers from it and you would gain engagement, but you also aren't just sort of giving stuff away and not getting anything back. So yeah, I think giveaways can be risky, because I think if you do them too early, then you'll get a lot of people that just follow you for the giveaway and then unfollow you. So yeah, I think I would say an offer, because then you're definitely getting an order, whereas a giveaway, it gets engagement, it gets the word out, but you won't necessarily get orders from that. So yes, those are some ideas. I hope they're helpful. So we had another question. I'm so out of breath, I don't know why. I'm talking way too much. I also just ate, like in between the intro of this video and this part. Hey. I actually ate my dinner, which was a pizza, and I'm like really out of breath from it because it was way too much food. Anyway, there you go. What are we doing now? So someone asked on YouTube what my baking essentials are. I think they mean literally just all of them. So I'm going to go through all of the ones that I think are good as like a starting point, and just in general. So in terms of equipment, the things that I use the most is obviously a mixer. I started with a hand mixer. It lasted me about, I've had it for a while, but in terms of actually working, like with orders rather than just practicing, it probably lasted me like 2 weeks before I got tired of it, just because it was, obviously it's each to your own, but it's just so much nicer not having to hand mix everything, because even though it is an electric mixer, it is still a lot of work. So I definitely recommend a mixer. I mean, I love my KitchenAid, but if you don't have the money for a KitchenAid, things like Kenwood are good. What are some other ones? I'll try and put them in the description. I'll put a few that I'd like recommend, and I'll try and put them on the screen if I remember. But yeah, the Kenwood one's quite good. I think the Kenwood one might be like 250, because my dilemma is, speaking of dilemmas, is that I don't want to spend £200 on something, and I knew that I always wanted a KitchenAid, because when I eventually move out of my parents' house, I want to get the attachments, so you can get like a blender, you can get a pasta maker. I want the attachments so that it's kind of an all-in-one device. I don't have to have a separate blender, I don't have to have a separate like vegetable cutter, all of that stuff. I think it's just nice to have it all in one place. So that's why I thought, well, rather than spending £200 on, say, a Kenwood, and then when I eventually move out spending £500 on a KitchenAid, I might as well have just bought the KitchenAid and then save myself that £200, because the KitchenAids last so long, so I thought it will definitely last me until then. So yeah, I just sort of did the leap and bought it anyway, but it's completely up to you. There will be a KitchenAid review up on Tuesday, so look out for that. I'm doing a very in-depth review. I'm testing. I think I'm doing a cupcake recipe and maybe a brownie recipe as well, to test out kind of the usability of it. And I'm also going to be demoing my pouring shield, which I use for icing sugar. It's not completely foolproof, but it does kind of cover from having a complete smoke cloud. So yeah, I'll be showing you through all of that, which might help with the decision. So some kind of mixer, I feel like it is an essential. If you're using a wooden spoon, you're gonna give up basically after one day, because I never use a wooden spoon. So yeah, definitely some kind of mixer, whether it's a hand mixer or a stand mixer. Then I would say plenty, and I mean I've got about 5 or 6 of each, is spatulas and spoons. So you want the silicone ones because I think they're the best, and they're bendy so they can like really get round the bowl. So I have so many spatulas, I absolutely love them, use them for everything, like melted chocolate, for brownies, any like cake mix. It's just so much easier to get all of the mixture out of the bowl and not like leave any wastage. So loads of spatulas. I actually need to get some more whisks because my whisk has come apart. So like, sorry Cleo, the bit, like the whisk bit at the end has kind of come off from the stick, and my dad super glued it, but it's still coming away just because I use it so much for brownies. So I need another one because I don't use my KitchenAid for brownies because it has to be a very like gentle mix. So you should always do brownies with hands, and then, well, not hands, but spatula, and kind of like mix it in a figure of 8, because then it won't let too much air in and then it will rise nicely. Otherwise, yeah, all the air gets in and then it doesn't rise properly. So loads of spatulas. What else? I mean, just an assortment of sprinkles. I have such a stock. I actually need to do an order from Baking Time Club, which is where I get all my favourite sprinkles from. They're vegan, gluten-free, kosher and halal, which just makes it so much easier for you as a baker because you don't have to buy loads of different ones. So I would recommend getting a stock of those, because it's surprising how many people will send you a photo of a cake and then you think, I haven't even got any sprinkles similar to that. So I like to have a broad range of possible ideas so that I'm not buying stuff last minute, and maybe from somewhere which is more expensive. So I think a stock of like decorations, sprinkles, chocolate. I have a whole cupboard just full of chocolate. So I think when you're starting up you might not, but as you get bigger I think it's good to just constantly have a stock of stuff. I always have a stock of chocolate, sprinkles, just general ingredients. A lot of spreads. I have hazelnut spread, chocolate spread, white and milk chocolate, and then I also have loads of Biscoff. So I can't think of anything else, which is cake tins is an essential. I think a range of cake tins, and also multiple of each, because you don't want to be baking a 4-layer cake and you can only put 1 tin in at a time. So I have 5 8-inch tins and 3 6-inch, and then I have 2 4-inch and 1 5-inch, but that's because I'm testing out the 5-inch. I don't know whether I'm gonna make it like a full-time menu choice, but yeah, I think tins is another one. And the same goes for brownie tins. I have quite a few different ones for different sizes. So yeah, I think that is all my essentials. I'm hoping that was interesting for you and that answered the question. This was actually a message, but I'm going to use it as a question. It wasn't like a particularly... So it wasn't submitted for this video, basically. She just asked me in my messages, but I thought that I would include it. So she asked about how did I teach myself to buttercream my cupcakes so perfectly. So thank you for that. So she's been watching my YouTube videos and that's kind of how she asked me this. But for buttercream, I just wanted to kind of give some tips on this because I thought it was a good question, because I kind of did teach myself this without realising. But I think nozzle makes a difference. Recipe, it does, but you can perfect it quite a lot because it's a very simple recipe. I mean, there's only like 3 ingredients. So I think the recipe isn't too important because you can change that, but I think the nozzles that you have, and also the scrapers, this is going on to sort of cakes, but I would definitely recommend a silver like metal scraper for cakes, just because it's nice and like sturdy. It's not flimsy, because you don't want a scraper to be flimsy when you're trying to move it around a cake. You want it to be stiff so that it's kind of like scraping a knife around a cake. In order to get it smooth, you don't want it to be bending, because then you're going to get indents in your cake, which the plastic ones, they bend quite a lot. And then in terms of the nozzles, they can kind of bend. I don't know if anyone else has had this, but I bought some cheap ones just when I was testing out, like nozzles and stuff, and they would kind of morph into a different shape. I was going to say dish shape, but I don't think that's a word. But instead of it being like a circle, and then obviously the nozzle, it was kind of like an oval where the metal just wasn't very strong. So I always buy Wilton ones now, and I really like the 2D and the 1M, I think it is, for roses on cupcakes. And for buttercream, in terms of recipe, I always use a 2:1 ratio. So say for example 200 grams of butter and 400 grams of icing sugar, and then I always use hot water. So I boil the kettle and I put in a tablespoon, mix it up, and then obviously depending how stiff or smooth I want it, so for cupcakes I want it a bit stiffer just because I find that it holds the roses better, and then for cakes I want it a bit smoother, and then you just kind of add as much boiling water as you need until you get the desired effect, I guess. So that's that one. Now onto the dilemmas. So I'm hoping I can get through these quickly because I've been talking for way too long. So it was the person's first wedding cake order in March, and obviously we went into lockdown that week. So she had asked the couple whether they were going ahead because of all the news, and they said that they were still going ahead. And the Monday after, so it's a little bit confusing, but she asked the weekend before, the 28th, if they were going ahead, and they said yes. But then the Monday after that weekend, I think, they called and said everything is off. But that Monday she had gone and bought all the ingredients for that cake, so then she was out of pocket, and then the bride-to-be is expecting, so their wedding was booked then for November 2021. They've paid in full, and they still want the wedding, but she was basically saying, can she ask for money for those ingredients, because she's then lost out because they didn't give her enough notice. So for me personally, obviously it was the first occasion, so it's not even like you could have had a contract in place. So obviously with lockdowns now, because we're going into a second one, I would be saying that I need 2 weeks notice, because one, if I'm going to get another booking, then I need that notice, and also so that I don't buy ingredients. So obviously in future, maybe do that. But I said this to her as well, because I did answer it in the messages, but I said if it was me, I would have mentioned it at the time. Obviously, I feel like a lot was going on at the time, but if this ever happens and you buy ingredients and then you're out of pocket, I would recommend asking for the money then. You don't necessarily have to sort of demand it, but maybe you can do it in a way where you say, oh, unfortunately, due to the notice, I actually already bought these ingredients, I can't use them. Depends how busy you are. Obviously, if you're buying things like fresh fruit and you don't use those on other cakes, then you're going to be out of pocket. But if it's things like stork and, I don't know, eggs, then you might be able to use those on other orders. So you need to assess whether you can use the ingredients, because otherwise you'll be out of pocket. And then I think just approach them and say, unfortunately, I'm out of pocket because I bought the ingredients, you didn't give me enough notice. As far as I was aware, at the weekend, you said that it was going ahead. I now buy the ingredients like 2 days later, and it's not going ahead. So it's a difficult one. There's no sort of rule book for it. No one really knows what they're meant to be doing with it. So I think you can only kind of learn from it. But I did say that because of how long it's been since, obviously we're in November now, and obviously that happened in March, I said that I would just use it as a learning curve, not mention it, because you don't want to create a bad vibe between you and the bride. If you now say like 6 months later, can I have this, £20 for these ingredients, because you didn't give me enough notice. I feel like it's kind of difficult to mention it later because they'll just think, oh, why didn't you mention it at the time? So yeah, I think that's what I would do on that one. So was there, oh, there was also another one who, she offered a customer a sketch and complimentary cupcakes. I'm not sure what the sketch is, but obviously you're offering someone complimentary cupcakes. I think you get some kind of review in place of that. Don't really know how that works. But then she came back 3 times since and wants a sketch and cupcakes, like free cupcakes every time. And then she went back to her and said, unfortunately you can't have free cupcakes every time, like it was a one-off. And then she got annoyed with her. But I wanted to quickly touch on, because I hear so many people talking about it, and I mean, I get messages all the time from people like, you know, if you're watching this and you do this, then please stop. So you get people that have very limited followers. I mean, it's not, you know, it's not a actual influencer doing this, like, you know, a 500,000 follower influencer. It's people that have, similar to me, you know, they've got like 1,000 followers or sometimes less, and they're some kind of food blogger, and they say, oh, if you want to send me some stuff for free, then please do. I'll happily give you a review in place of that. And I just say, unfortunately, I have customers that will give me a review and they're paying for my time. You want a free cake, which is going to take me 3 hours to make, and you know, I would charge £50 for that, so why am I going to give it to you for free? Like, unfortunately, I can't do that. And I'm also busy enough that I don't need it. And I think even if you aren't busy enough, just don't do it, because there is a reason why they're coming to you. I mean, you're not searching for influencers to take your cakes for free. If they're coming to you, they're probably not going to be going to the right audience. And a lot of them, you might go on their profile and they're miles away. And I'm thinking, you could give me a review, but I want customers that are local, unless it's, you know, Etsy orders where it's postals. But for cakes and stuff, I want them to be local because they've got to come and collect. So it doesn't really work. So it's difficult when people message you that. You either don't reply, or you just reply saying, unfortunately, it's not really my thing to be giving stuff out for free to influencers. Yeah, I don't really know about that one, but it really does like rub me up the wrong way when I get messages from people, because I just think you wouldn't be doing that to someone else, you know, another type of business. It's just because it's food where you think like, oh, I can review it, and it's like, no, I mean, unless you've got a lot of followers, I wouldn't consider it. But yeah, I think if it was like a celebrity or something, you might, but you get so many people that are like aspiring influencers that do it, and yeah, it's just not worth it. So yeah, that is all of the things that I was going to go through today. That's all the questions. I'm hoping this was interesting. If it was, then let me know down below. If you want me to answer any questions for next week, there will be another one up next Sunday. So make sure you either comment them down below if you're happy for other people to see them, and if you don't want anyone to know your name, because they are all anonymous, all of these dilemmas are anonymous, then you can message me on Instagram. So I'll put my links below and on the screen. But yeah, I get people messaging me with questions, and that's obviously anonymous. So if you want to do that instead, then also head over to my Instagram. This can, like today's, which I kind of like, be dilemmas. It can be anything to do with decorating, like, you know, nightmare bakes that you've made where like you've had a really tough time decorating something and you want some tips on how to sort an issue out that you've had previously. Any dilemmas that you've got relating to decorating, general business, especially with the whole COVID thing at the moment, I think there are quite a few dilemmas that people are facing. And then any general questions, because I will answer them all in next week's video. And tonight actually, I'm announcing it soon, in about 10 minutes I think I'm meant to be announcing it, is I am doing Etsy postals, which I'm so excited about. So my Etsy link will be down below, and I'm doing Etsy postals. So it's postal brownies, and you can have it anywhere in the UK, not outside the UK. I did have someone buy from Germany and I was like, no, it's not going to reach you, so I had to refund them. But yeah, if you want a postal brownie, especially for Christmas, I'm going to be doing a brownie of the month every month. So it's like a brownie slab of the month, but for Christmas I'm doing like a loaded brownie, so it'll have loads of different chocolate on it, for like Christmassy chocolate, like the little chocolate snowmen and stuff. And then I'm just going to do a like monthly flavour, so like chocolate orange one month, mint another month. So yeah, they're all going to have a theme. So yeah, and then I'll do weekly drops of just the general flavours. So this week I'm dropping Biscoff and white chocolate, and then next week I think it's going to be Kinder and Nutella, and then I haven't thought about the week after that, but it's gonna be a short one this week, so I'm not sure how many orders I'll get, and it's also the launch. But orders will be going out on the 4th, Wednesday the 4th. So people would have only had like 2 days to order, whereas normally they'll have a whole week. But it's just the way it's worked out that I'm sort of promoing on a Sunday, and orders have to be in by Tuesday. So we will see. But from next week there'll be a lot more notice, and if there's any flavours you want, obviously let me know. But if you're anywhere in the UK, then you can order one, so that's really exciting. I hope you enjoyed this video, and remember the KitchenAid video is going up on Tuesday, so hit the bell if you want to watch that, because it's going to be an interesting one. And I will see you in my next video. If there's any baking content you want to see, comment it down below as well. However, I have got a list of about 10 videos that I need to film, so I've already got quite a lot on my plate. But yeah, I will see you in Tuesday's video. Bye!